Hi Makeup Addicts, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Sarah. Thanks so much for joining us today. Today we're going to be doing 3 looks using the Huda Beauty Rose Gold Remastered palette. First we'll do something really subtle and suitable for work, then we'll move on, do something a little bit more glam, and I thought I'd do something inspired by the front cover of the palette. And then we'll move on to something a little bit more adventurous, but to see what happened there, you'll have to wait until the end of the video. So without further ado, let's get into this. If you wanted to recreate any of these looks today, you'll need an eye primer. I'm using the P. Louise base. You'll need a gel liner or liquid liner. I'm using the Benefit roller liner. You'll need a black kohl pencil. Any pencil will do, but I'm using this Makeup Forever one. Mascara, naturally, will be required for this look, and I'm using the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. You'll need something to dampen a brush, so a setting spray or water spray. I'm using Colourpop Pretty Fresh. I love this stuff. And if you fancied it, you'd need some false lashes. I'm using these magnetic ones from Ardell. I promise I'll use something different in the future because I keep using them. And you'll need a collection of brushes. These are all the brushes that I used across the 3 looks in this video. So let's get into this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prime my eyelids. I've got my P. Louise base and I'm just putting that on with this brush that I got in a cheap set once. And I'm just going to put that all over my lid and then use my fingers to just press out the brush strokes. So I use the brush to make sure I get full coverage and then use my finger to just make sure there's no lines that could show up when I put eyeshadow on top. So the first shade I'm going to use is the shade Demure. Lovely, lovely dusty rose pink shade. However, my first go here, you can't really see it, so let's try that again. That's better. So I'm just using this on a MAC 217, which is like quite a big fluffy brush for the eye, or I find it to be quite a big fluffy brush for my eyes because I've got really small eyes. But this will do just nicely for popping it all over the outer edges of my eyeball. Not really looking to go outside of like the area of our eye, so no winged looks here, just a really subtle-ish nice look that you could wear for work or teleconferencing, whatever it is we're doing these days for work. I got myself into a bit of a predicament here because I don't think I let the P. Louise base dry fully and this matte shade just clung to it like glue. So I found it really difficult to actually blend it out and get rid of this line. I was blending for ages. I eventually got it to a state where I was happy to call it blended, but I think if I'd have left the P. Louise base to dry a bit longer, I actually wouldn't have had this problem. Just to illustrate how long this actually took to blend out, I took out a MAC 221 and tried that to blend as well. This is a Morphe 506 and I just couldn't blend it out with this. So I'm just fasting forward here to show you how long I was actually blending for. I am not going to make this mistake again. I actually think I would have been quicker to take it off and start again. And this is just about where I gave up / was happy enough that it was not going to move any further and finally stopped blending and moved on. Then on a Morphe 321 brush, I took the shade Cocoa, which is a quite a deep, really warm, burgundy-ish brown, and I just wanted to deepen up this outer corner. Not going too mad, just put a little bit on my brush and then dabbing that on the outer corner of my eye and just convincing that to move to the centre of my eye. I'm going to cover it with a bit of shimmer in a minute anyway, but I just wanted a bit of shape in the outer corner, just a bit of depth, and that's what this colour gave me. Really nice colour. Then just blending that all together with a MAC 221 far more successfully than a minute ago. Then on my little finger I'm taking Bubbly and just putting that from the inner corner all the way out towards the outer edge of my eye, but not completely covering up that deeper shade. You've kind of got a choice here. You could use Moondust if you fancied something just a little bit more gold, but I really wanted to go for the champagne-y shade today, so I just apply that using a finger over most of my eye. Next I'm going to take that MAC 221 that we were using earlier with no extra product on it, and I'm just going to use that, pinch it with my fingers and run that underneath the outer edge of my lower lash line just to round off that shape around the eye before taking that brush again and just going around those outer edges one more time in absolute desperation of getting that properly blended out. And then we're nearly done. I just take my roller liner and run a line of eyeliner across my lashes. I do this just to make my actual lashes look a little bit more voluminous because I really feel like I don't have that many. Then I just pop on some mascara when I've done this, and that is this one finished. If you've made it this far, let me know down in the comments what you think of this one. Is this something that you would get away with for work? I know it's a bit shimmery, but I'd definitely wear this for work. So let's move on to something a little bit more glam. Now for this one, I wanted to take some inspiration from the cover of the palette, and she's got really lovely eye makeup on the front cover of the palette. So let's see how close we can get to this. First of all, again, I'm just gonna prime my eyelid, follow the complete same process. So the first shade that I'm going to go in with is Risque, and this is on a Morphe M506 brush. On the picture on the front of the palette, it looks like this is what she outlines the eyeshadow look with. This is what is their blending crease shade. She brings it down to join a winged liner. We're not doing a winged liner today because hooded eyes just doesn't really work for me. But I am going to put this shade all around the top end of my crease, not being scared to go a little bit higher than we did before, and just blending it out towards the end of my eyebrow. It's also not the most blown out shade in the image, so I'm not going to be too bothered about completely dispersing the colour. I'm actually quite interested to see the colour like quite densely packed onto my eyelid, so let's go with that and see where we end up. Then using the same brush and the same shade, I'm just going to join the end of that top crease shade down towards my lash line. This is probably as close as I will ever really get to being able to do a winged liner, just to wing out the eyeshadow in that shape. So I'm just patting this on and then convincing them to join each other, using this brush very lightly in blending motions, just to get all of this to meet and look nice. Then, because I have a couple of patches on my eyelid that just don't like to accept pigment, I'm just taking this soft pencil brush from Morphe, the 321 brush, and I'm just almost just packing on pigment to make sure that all of my eyelid is covered, and then going back in with the M506 just to blend it back out again. It's really fine balance when you've got these patches. I know I can't be the only person in the world with this problem. Do you have it too? Let me know in the comments. The next shade I'm going to use on my finger is Fling, and just looking at the image on the front of the palette, I do think this is the first shade that she puts all over. However, this is nowhere near shimmery enough or reflective enough to reflect in the same way that it does in the picture. I know there's a camera and a flash at play there, but it doesn't reflect the same way even just in my light. So I'm going to put this all over my eye, and then we'll pile on some other colours and maybe get to a similar result as what she gets on the front of the palette. After using my finger, I then go in with a brush. This is just an old Charles Fox brush that I'm going in with here that's quite densely packed, and I've sprayed it down with my Colourpop setting spray, and it seems to be doing a better job than my finger, which is unusual actually, but I'm just using this to pack on that shade. Next, on another dampened, densely packed brush, I'm going in with Pink Diamond and just putting this on top to try and get the reflective effect that she gets on the front of the palette. This is definitely added dimension, but I think we're just missing the actual rose gold shade, which is what I'm going in with here on my finger, and this is what made the difference for me. This is now us getting towards that shimmery effect that we get on the front of the palette. I absolutely love this shade. It's got to be one of my favourite shimmer shades of all time, and maybe that's just because it's called rose gold, because I just love the colour. I decided I wanted to take this colour all the way up into my crease just to really extend the use of this shimmery shade because I love it so much. Then just taking a clean Morphe 506 and barely touching my eye, I'm just pushing that shimmery shade around and just making sure it disperses away from my eye, and then just bringing it down into my inner corner as well. Then I'm just going to take one of those densely packed brushes again, and just along the lash line, the lower lash line, I'm going to put Risque, Just going to then join that top and bottom lash line shades together so it all rounds off quite nicely. Clean up in aisle 3 please, I made a total mess of under my eye. Then I'm going to put a bit of moon dust just on my brow bone and on my inner corner. And we're nearly there. Now I'm just going to go in with the magnetic liner that comes with my lashes. Pop my lashes on and we are all done. What do you think of this one? If you're liking this video so far, I'd really appreciate it if you'd let me know by hitting the thumbs up button. And if you wanted to join the family, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell, and you will get notifications of my videos every Monday and Friday. However, now let's get on with something a little bit more adventurous. These either go wrong or go right, so let's see where we end up. And I didn't really know where to go with this for an adventurous point of view, because all of these shades to me are really comfortable. So I had a quick look on Instagram and found this post by Made of Porcelain, and I will put that handle on the screen so you can see it. And whilst the eyeshadow look here isn't only made from this palette, I feel like you can get pretty close with it, so let's give it a try. So I've already primed my eyes first, and the first shade I'm going to go in with is Sandalwood, and this is really just going to be my base, just to put down everything on top of. I don't want any blending issues this time, so I just want to throw it down, cover my whole upper crease with it so that I can blend everything into it later. So on this Morphe 562, which is a really small blending brush, it's got a really fine tip almost, I'm just taking a mixture of Dollface and Risque, just trying to give myself a pinky purple colour like there is in that picture. And I'm just going to take that in a relatively thin blended line from my inner corner out towards the outer edge. I don't want to drag this down onto my eyelid, and I also don't really want to go any higher than the shade that I've already got there. So I'm almost just tracing the line that I've just put down with my crease shade, with that Sandalwood shade, slightly inside it with the mixture of these two colours. Then I'm just going in with a clean M506 and just blending those two together. There might be quite a lot of blending in this video. So in blending that, I actually lost a bit of the pigment, so I'm just going back in again with that small blending brush, just retracing that line again, just to put the punchy pigment back in. Now I'm taking a mixture of Risque and Black Truffle, and be aware, this is the black shade, so be careful. I literally used the smallest amount that I could possibly get on my brush, and still it came up pretty black. Then to recreate the gold on the eyelid, I'm just going to use Dubai, which has got so many gorgeous reflex in it. The camera just doesn't do it justice. It just glistens. I absolutely love it. However, not really the sort of shade, probably the shade I would use the least in this palette. But I'm just putting that all over my eyelid, just using my finger to get complete coverage all the way from the outside to the inside. Then to make the centre of the eyelid pop, I'm just taking Pink Diamond and just putting that down the centre of the eyelid and just blending it ever so slightly out to each side, just to give it a bit of depth, a bit of dimension. And do you know what? I never would have thought these two colours would go together, but actually as you blend them in, sort of works. It sort of connects with the purple. I quite like it. Then I'm going to take that really tiny Morphe blending brush and just put in Risque on its own on this brush. I'm just putting that all along the lower lash line. Then I am deepening that up on the outer edge only with the tiniest bit of Black Truffle. Then with this unmarked MAC pencil brush, I'm taking the shade 24K, which is the bright gold in the palette, and I'm just putting that on my inner corner, and I'm putting quite a lot there, to be honest, because in the picture it really grabs your attention with this bright yellow piece of gold, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do the same. And I just wanted a bit more pop on the eyelid, so I took a small amount of 24K on my finger and very lightly patted it across my eyelid, and it really topped it off there. I was quite happy with that. And all that was left to do now is just to take a bit of moon dust and put that on my brow bone, apply my magnetic liner again, pop my magnetic lashes on and just give them a bit of a squeeze so they mix with my lashes. And that is this look complete. What did you think about this one? I was actually quite chuffed with how this came out, to be honest. And that is everything from me today. If you've made it this far in the video, welcome to the end. Congratulations. Please go ahead and hit subscribe, and if you ring the bell, you'll be notified of my videos every Monday and Friday. Have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world, but until then, I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.